it starts, now who is speaking in this verse? Jesus Christ is speaking, right? The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because He has anointed me. Now, this verse is only for the Christ or someone else too? This is the question. Only for Jesus Christ or someone else too? Someone else too, right? Who could be that someone else? Can I see your hand if you think it's you? All right. So not only Jesus Christ, but everyone who claims to believe in Jesus Christ and be a follower of Jesus Christ, the same verse can be applicable. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because He has anointed me. So, with your proclamation that Jesus anointed me, we can read that part of the verse together. Okay, are you ready? Go. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because He has anointed me. You are excited, right? Exciting. Okay, let me hear your exciting as you read again. So it's now your proclamation. Ready? Go. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because He has anointed me. Why? What's the purpose of anointing? Like in the Hebrew culture, they anoint the priests, they anoint the king, anoint the prophets. They all have special mission. And Jesus also was anointed with a special mission. And what was his special mission? To preach the gospel to the poor, only to the poor, right? I'm sorry for the rich people. But Jesus came to preach only to the poor. No, poor in spirit, right? Which means everyone. To preach the gospel to the poor, and He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted. For the brokenhearted. Everyone, right? Everyone we experience brokenheartedness. And to proclaim liberty to the captives. Oh, is there any captive here? Yes. We are, in a sense, we are captive of something, captive of someone. Instead of being a slave or servant of Jesus Christ, we become a slave of someone or something else. So everyone is a captive. So proclaim liberty to the captives and recovery of the sight to the blind. Is there any blind person here today? And physically, may not. But in a spiritual sense, we are blinded. So that's why every moment of our life, Jesus wants to show us, reveal us His plan, the path we want us to go. But because we are spiritually blinded, we feel anxious, uncertain. I remember when I was in the Philippines as a missionary, the rural area, very rural area, it's Oriental Mindoro. And in the rainy season, and one night, I was visiting another village with other co-missionaries. And we had no light. So even it was dark and no stars, so it's very difficult to find the path. And especially when the road is dumped with rain, it's very difficult to figure out where is the road, where is the field. And one time I had to pass by lake. So I was really scared to step, forward because I may step into the lake because I couldn't see anything. But somehow we are spiritually blinded, and even though everything is clear in God's sight, that everything is so dim for us. That's why Jesus came to recover our sight, spiritual sight. To set at liberty those who are oppressed. Is there anyone who are oppressed? you must call the social worker. If anyone oppresses you or beats you. But somehow with something oppresses, someone oppresses in our relationships. But to set at liberty those who are oppressed. And then eventually to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord. When is the acceptable year of the Lord? Some translation says like a favor year of the Lord. When is it? When is the favorable year of Jesus? It can be the year Jesus was born. Also it can be the year Jesus is going to come again. So this was Jesus' mission statement. And I believe it's everyone's mission statement. And Luke 19 verse 10, Jesus once again, he repeated his mission statement. For the Son of Man has come to seek and to save that which was lost. Who are the lost? Have you been found by Jesus? Did Jesus find you here this morning? You are here because Jesus has found you, right? He found you to be His, not to belong to the world. And that's the reason Jesus had come, to save that which was lost, the human mankind, everyone. And after talking with the Samaritan woman, John chapter 4 verse 34, Jesus said, "My food is to the will of Him who sent me and to finish His work." What was the Father's will and what was the work? We already know. To preach the gospel, to save the lost. It was His food. How many will think that your food is to preaching? Not yet? And how did Jesus live? We read like his mission statements from two parts of the gospel. Now we know the life of Jesus Christ. Did he fulfill his mission statement? Yeah. I'd like to share just one verse about his life. Luke 23 verse 43. Let's read it together. Ready? Start. "Assuredly, I say to you today, you will be with me in paradise." Who is talking to who? Jesus was talking to the person who's dying beside him. But we know the story from Thursday night. He didn't eat. Maybe after Passover meal, he was not able to eat. I don't know whether he had a chance to drink. But he carried to different places to have trials. And he was beaten. And now he was on the cross. Now it's almost just last moment of his life. What would you do? What would you do when you know that you have only 1 hour, or when you have only 30 minutes, or when you have only 10 minutes? What would you do? What did Jesus do? He preached the gospel. Yes, he preached the gospel. What did he do? He saved the lost. Isn't that amazing? Determination. To faithful to his mission statement. He was a true missionary until the very, very last moment. And then after that, the Bible records, Luke chapter 24 verse 46, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." Isn't that amazing? Until the very last minute. I don't know how many minutes between assuredly I say to you today, you will be with me in paradise. And Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. I don't know how many minutes, or 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, I don't know. But surely it was not many hours. But Jesus was faithful to his mission. We lost Joshua. But while he was in the hospital, several times I visited him, talked to him. And after he was diagnosed with cancer, which was spread all over his body, he was sharing Jesus to the person who was sharing his room together. He was talking to him. The guy was about 200 kilograms, maybe 19-year-old boy, and he also shared his life. Said, now I want to change my life. I do not want to live this way anymore. So that's why he was hospitalized and controlling his diet, and he was having 5,000 calorie food. That's a diet for him. But he used to eat maybe 20,000 calories for the day. So 5,000 calorie was already diet for him. But he said, I want to change my life. And so I had also a chance to talk to him a little bit about Joshua. And one day, Joshua hugged him and cried with him, said, you are not alone. And that was really a touching moment. He knew that his life was leaving him. But even at that moment, he was sharing Jesus. Once again, I'd like to ask you, what would you do if you have only 1 hour? Would you spend that 1 hour for Christ? Sometimes I feel, even myself, feel that we have time for everything, right? We have time to visit friends, time to play, time to do everything. But do we have time for Christ? Do we have time for Christ? Jesus didn't only do his mission work, but he did something else. What did he do? He made disciples. So Mark chapter 3 verses 13 and 14. Read. And he went up on the mountain and called to him those himself wanted, and they came to him. Then he appointed 12 that they might be with him, and that he might send them out to preach. Probably you notice the emphasis of the verse, right? Appointed and be with him and send them out to preach. Still, I'm learning North American culture. I'm from South Korea, which is a very east part of Asia. And there's something different between Eastern culture and Western culture about how to train other people. I don't know whether you have seen any kung fu movie when you were young. And the Chinese movie, right? But when a young boy want to learn kung fu, so he found the master, and he went there and said, "Please accept me as your pupil." And what does he do after being accepted? He learned not move like that, No. He just go to the mountain and bring like firewood, cleaning the house and cooking for the master, doing laundry and all the chores. How long? 1 month? No. 1 year? No. Usually several years. Then the master think, I think he's ready. So after 3 years, the master will come out, stand up like this. Okay, that's today's lesson. So just one standing like this. It took 3 years to learn stand like this. You know, Buddhist monk, like if someone wants to be a Buddhist and go to like a famous Buddhist monk, say, can you accept me as your student? What does he do? Alright, now I'm going to a Buddhist and open Buddhist, Bible and read and memorize? No. He has to go to mountain and bring firewood, make a house warm, and cook, doing laundry and clean the house, and even go out and ask for donation to bring food for the master for how many days? Months and months and months and years. Probably it's like 3 years. I think you will be ready. Now you can listen when I read the book. So that's like Oriental culture. Recently I read a book and there's a lady who was doing like a pottery. And she went to Japan to learn from a master. And he was a very famous man. And so like she went there for 6 months. But she didn't understand the culture there. So what did she do during 6 months? Clean the house and all the house chores. And she was thinking, it's so much waste. Right? I could earn a lot of money and doing my pottery work 6 months. But I gave up everything here to clean the house of the master. So the master didn't even teach a thing because it takes certain time to sit down and learn. But she had a chance to watch how masters do, but he didn't teach a thing. So after 6 months, she had to go back. Goodbye. What did I learn? But when went to bed and began to do her pottery work, she was so amazed. The work was different. What did she get from the master? Spirit. She watched how the master lived for 6 months. And his spirit somehow descended, like a transfer to her. So even though the master didn't teach her anything about pottery, she became better potter. Maybe this kind of thing is very difficult to understand for Canadian culture, maybe? I don't know. Maybe I still need more time to digest it. Do you remember what the disciples like John and Andrew do when they decide to follow Jesus? What did they do? They followed Jesus' house, where he was staying. I don't know whether it was his house, he didn't own anything, probably. They went where Jesus was staying. And after that, what about other disciples? Did they stay home and meet Jesus once a week for Bible study? They left. How many people? Everyone. They left how many things? Everything. To follow Jesus Christ. And they stayed with him for 3 years. Still they didn't catch much until it was time for graduation. Think about our disciple training. How we disciple people. It's very difficult to find the time to get together, right? It's very difficult because we are busy. Busy with what? Everything. Sure, we have family, right? I'm not saying that you have to abandon your family to follow Jesus Christ. It's different culture setting. We cannot do that way. But however, the Spirit is still same. If we do not have that heart, it's very, very difficult to follow Jesus and disciple other people. Because we have time for everything except God. And Jesus' time, like a public, it's like educational system, is a rabbinical education system. So one rabbi is one school. So rabbi recruited students, and also students they went to the famous rabbi to accept them. So that's the culture. So once they accepted and they studied until like 12 years old, and then they graduate, and from that time some they continue to learn, some they find their job and go their personal professions. But Jesus also one of the rabbis at the time. He recruited his students, and they stayed with him 24 hours a day for 3 years. And John 13:1 says, and he loved them to the end. So have you felt that you are tired of carrying someone spiritually? Have you exhausted after praying for one person for like 10 years? And still there's no single move? It's just same? Have you ever said, God, this is too much. I cannot handle it anymore. I cannot pray. Show me something that he has or she has been changed. Sometimes we are so frustrated, right? Because they don't change. Especially when you pray for your family members. It's harder. But imagine Jesus and his disciples. When I read gospel, that I'm not a sinner, I cannot really accept what the disciples were done. So dumb and stupid. So impatient, so secular, unfaithful, not reliable. Even one of them sold him, right? And another person betrayed. I don't know him. And when he said like even he denied association with Jesus Christ. When he denied 3 times, the 3 times different way to deny Jesus. I don't know him. I didn't associate with him. I have no business with him at all. That's what Peter said. But what did Jesus do for them? He gave his life for them. It encourages me a lot because I see myself in 12 disciples. As a disciple, as a follower of Jesus Christ myself, I see myself there too. Which means I still have a hope. I still have a hope. So dear brothers and sisters, don't be discouraged when you do gospel work. When you preach, when you pray for someone, it takes a lot of time. How many hours?
A lot of time.
A lot of of time. A lot of time. That's the limit of my breath. I couldn't do longer than that. Now, a lot of time. And eventually, before he went to heaven, he said, no, all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. That's a very crucial part to understand the rest of the verses. Authority. I'm sorry to talk about politics, but now I'm not citing any side. But when Donald Trump he became president, he became the commander of U.S. Army. Just it comes together, package. The president of the United States is like chief commander of United States Army. So whether he has good discernment or not, he has what? Authority to make a decision. So if he says do it, they have no choice to do it. If he said don't do it, they have no choice. Don't do it. Why? Because he is the chief commander. But now, what is Jesus saying? All, how much authority? All authority of Canada or United States, South Korea? No. All authority in God's kingdom. How much authority is that? I don't know how much authority the mayor of Winnipeg has. Pretty much, right? He can make a decision for Winnipeg, right? How about Premier of Manitoba? Yeah, he has pretty much make good decision. I hope he makes good decisions for Manitobans, right? But Jesus has authority over all nations, all people. And with that authority, Jesus commanding us, go. Go home. Go to the party. Go and have fun. No problem. But you still have to remember, go and make disciples of all the nations. And baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and in the name of the Holy Spirit. And teaching them to observe all things that I have commanded you. And like the commander of the army, just command. You go, but he stays. Right? When the president command you go, but he doesn't go. He stays in the headquarters. Is that true? But Jesus said, I will be with you, which means he's going to go with us. Not just go and kicking and do your work. He said, come on, I will go with you. I will be with you. Who is with us? Jesus, who has how much authority? All authority. And he is commanding us to go and make disciples to all nations. But there's one problem of this verse. Please forgive me. What's the problem? When we say to go all nations, it's too big. So we don't really think it's a personal commandment. We don't really take it personally. How can I go all the nations? So it doesn't really come to us in a practical way. So let me change a little bit. Forgive me to change the Bible verse. Go and make disciples of all your family members. Go and make disciples with your neighbors. Go and make disciples with your friends. Go and make disciples with your co-workers. How do you like that? Is it when Jesus says go, is a suggestion? It's a suggestion? No. It's like an option to think about it. When chief command says go, but you can think about it. You don't have to go. Take your time. Or go means really go. Go means really go. And unfortunately, we do not have much resource about like 12 disciples. How did they obey? But Paul, he said in Acts chapter 20, it come and go. I didn't say go, but he went. Probably I do not have all authority over Apple product. Actually 20 verse 24 and 26, I think it's a problem. It says, but none of the things move me, nor do I count my life dear to myself, so that I may finish my race with joy and the ministry which I received from the Lord Jesus, to testify to the gospel of the grace of God. Sounds familiar? Even the words are different, this is exactly saying what Jesus said before he started his public ministry. What Paul was saying, the same what Jesus was saying. And 26 is, therefore I testify to you this day that I am innocent. Innocent of what? Innocent of the blood of all men. What does it mean? I didn't kill anyone. Does it mean that way? What does it mean? I'm innocent of the blood of all men. I didn't kill anyone, right? So I'm very innocent of the blood of any man. I'm innocent because I give my life to preach the gospel. Do you know what? This is not coincidence that you have wife who you with you now. It's not coincidence you have a husband whom you have now as a husband. It's not coincidence you have a son or a daughter to have you to be with you. If it's not coincidence, then what is this? It's providence. God gave her to you to make what? Disciples. It's not coincidence you settled in certain place with certain neighbors. One day, Jesus will ask us, are you innocent of the blood of this man? Are you innocent of the blood of your husband? Are you innocent of the blood of your wife? Blood of your children? Blood of your neighbors? Are you ready to answer? Are you ready to answer? Am I ready to answer? 2 Timothy chapter 4 verse 2 says, preach the word. Be ready in season and out of season. And now the Lighthouse Hope Church, we are in season. Amen. Why? Because we are starting our crusade from this evening. Amen. What time is it? 6:30 p.m. We are going to go, even though they will come, we are going to them. With the heart of Jesus, to save them, expand His kingdom, so that one day we can say that I am innocent of the blood of such a person. If you haven't made a decision to bring someone to the crusade, may this morning's sermon encourage you. Be innocent, the blood of your family members, your friends, and your neighbors, your co-workers. And we all know that Jesus is coming late. Coming late. Soon. Are you sure? Yes, Jesus is coming soon. Then we must be ready and make other people to be ready.